This is Your Favorite Character Sucks with John.
Oh, we're rolling. Matt.
And Brandon.
A podcast where we look at characters in our favorite books and decide which is the best. Well, not just books, right? Movies, TV shows.
Any form of media, really, yeah.
Right. How does one determine media? How does one determine what the best character is? Well, with our extensive literary knowledge and a level of confidence possessed only by an American man, we can discover the answer to any question. Before we begin, my conscience would not let me go on without first saying that this podcast has assumed you are familiar with the series being discussed. If you haven't read, listened to, watched, or gone on an acid trip that has revealed to you the plot of the series under discussion, then you should stop listening now until you've read or watched whatever we're talking about. You have been warned. On today's episode, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson. Over 100 characters and counting.
So are we going to ever talk about Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah. Let me start by saying...
Wait. Is that what we're doing today? I thought we were doing Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was going to bring that up.
Oh, okay.
So I always have to start by saying something...
Don't bring it.
I always have to start by saying that I got to start by saying something. And so I'm not going to throw shade because honestly, I feel like something's going on in that dude's life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's happening, but...
To completely ghost you seems pretty...
Well, we're cutting this from the cast, right?
No, I'm going to include this in the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This episode, and the reason I want to bring it up... God damn it, dude. At some point, that'll get stale, but...
Not yet. Absolutely not yet.
Maybe in season 2 it'll be old, but...
We'll change it up.
Yeah, season 2,
I'll always know when it starts.
And season 2, you'll say, is it over? Are we ending now?
I think we don't discuss it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen organically, we'll latch onto a new thing. It'll be just as shitty and...
It's stupid.
And stupid, yeah.
So, we don't have a guest on this episode. This is going to be our first guestless episode, right? Yeah. We're going to have one guestless episode at the very end, but we wanted to have a guest. We had a friend who, someone we knew in high school. Someone I knew in high school. Y'all didn't even know him, huh?
Yeah, I don't even know who this human is.
Stayed in touch on Facebook. He supported me on my YouTube channel, John Gets Lit.
Good plug.
He supported the podcast. He shared all of our first four or five episodes. And so I was like, hey, dude, is there a topic that you want us to cover? And would you like to be in it? He was all for it. He said, we wanted to do an actor-specific episode. And he said Lindsay Lohan. And, that threw us, but we thought it'd be fun. We did our research. We watched the movies. I watched several Lindsay Lohan movies. I was fucking ready. I watched a 45-minute documentary on Lindsay Lohan.
We collectively watched I Know Who Killed Me, which was
oh my god, I Know Who Killed Me. That was so good.
A good film. Yeah. Absolutely.
Can we just do the Lindsay Lohan podcast now?
Absolutely. As much as I would love to, no.
And then, running up to it, Erica was like, I think he moved out of the city. A week before, and I was like...
That's what she told me.
And I was like, I don't know, but, I said he's been responding in the group, and we've been talking about meeting up and stuff. He hasn't said anything against it. He picked the time, he voted on the time and all that stuff. He kept laughing at things we were saying and all this stuff. And then finally, the day before, or maybe 2 days before.
It was soon.
Because you were asking if we were going to go eat.
I was like, hey, did you want to come eat with us? Didn't really respond to that. Then I was like, we're going to meet at this time. Can you meet at that time? Didn't respond to that. He just, all of a sudden, after I tagged him, it would just stop responding. Just completely ghosted.
Regardless, that's not what we're here to talk about. Yeah, we're not.
He dipped, so that's why we don't have a guest, and we're not going to do Lindsay Lohan because we decided to do somebody else, which is Samuel. Who is Samuel? Wait, which is who is?
This isn't Jeopardy. What's going on here?
So we're going to do our first actor-specific episode where we talk about.
Is this really the first one? Huh?
The first actor-specific episode. We're trying to have a variety, and we're achieving that. Episode of Gilmore Girls will air before this one.
So what's so different about Samuel L. that makes it variety?
What's different about Samuel L. Jackson between him and Gilmore Girls?
Yeah, I'm just curious. What do you think's so different?
One, he's male.
Okay.
Two,
it's covering an actor across various different stories rather than characters within the same story.
So I should not start this because I'm pretty certain that my character is the best character. So I'm gonna go second or last.
This man's got a lot of rules.
I'm gonna go second or last.
Okay, so who's
he does? That dude makes 4 or 5 movies a year.
No, that dude is in a shitload of movies.
He has made 4 or 5 movies a year since he started.
1990?
Since birth.
Birth?
Yeah.
Really?
Seriously.
And I hear a lot of great stories. I was listening to an interview where what was his name? God dang, from In Living Color. I can't remember his name right now. Anyway, he was telling a story about acting on off-Broadway with Samuel L. Jackson. So Samuel Jackson's been acting on stage and doing all kinds of stuff forever.
I also feel like he barely ages.
That dude's like 60.
There's movies from 15 years ago or whatever where he's playing like a much older dude.
Yeah.
Like the one I'm covering.
Yeah.
And then he'll do like a movie this year where he looks 20 years younger than that character.
True.
Are you doing Black Snake Moan?
Yes, I am. So am I starting this off?
Yeah.
What's the character's name in that?
His name is Lazarus.
Oh, true.
Pretty badass.
Yvonne is going to be upset with you, dude.
Why?
You didn't see the Instagram?
Are you saying Miss Taylor?
Yeah, Miss Taylor.
I'm very.
Did she shit on him?
Yvonne. She was like, I like his. We'll talk. We'll plug her in a minute. So I'll cut this out.
We'll talk about why.
Did you rewatch it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
I just watched it.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Because last time I watched it was in like high school or something. It's a pretty old movie.
All right, I'll let you do it. I'm gonna tell.
All right. So I'm covering Lazarus Jackson from Black Snake Moan, or they just call him Laz.
Yeah.
But I went with that.
The guy in the Bible, that Lazarus brings people back from the dead, or got brought back from the dead.
The Lazarus Pit.
Yeah. That's
I think that's actually the original reference.
Yeah.
No, Lazarus in the Bible.
No,
the Bible got it from Batman.
Yeah, no, they got it from Ra's. Ra's al Ghul is far older than the lore of the Bible.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
that guy's been around for a while.
Yeah,
he's no Vandal Savage, but he's been around.
Jesus Christ.
Ra's al Ghul was like, "Hey, Jesus."
Okay, let's stop.
Save it for the Batman episode.
Save it for the lore of the Bible.
We'll talk about Jesus on the Batman episode.
All right. Initially, I said I would cover this movie just because it was one of the most random ones I could think of. But then, actually, upon watching it, I decided to stick with it because I think it's one of his more unique roles. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, because we just said he's been in freaking...
Talking because of the music?
Hundreds of movies.
And he gets typecast.
And yeah, he definitely gets typecast. He's usually, like, pretty intense and angry, I think.
As soon as a screenwriter finds out that he's in a movie, the word motherfucker appears in the script way more than it did before he was added to the project.
Yeah. Is that a problem, though?
No, that's great.
I like it, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he still has some of that in this role. He is still, like, pretty intense and angry at the beginning when you see him, like, almost stab his brother in the neck with the beer bottle.
Insane.
Yeah.
But it's after kind of coming down from that intensity that you see a softer side of him, which is why I went with it, because I feel like you don't see that in many of his other roles. He's, like, taking care of this woman who's an addict.
Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
That's how you know this film's old.
Yeah.
It's also got Justin Timberlake in it.
Yeah, which is pretty random.
Also how you know it's old. He was trying to start an acting career.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know of any other film that he's in besides In Time, which has Amanda Seyfried,
a couple.
From Justin and Kelly? Is that the same guy?
I don't.
Yes.
Oh, no, that was Justin Verlander from the Houston Astros.
I don't think so.
Justin's just a very popular name, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are their Justins?
Justin,
I think that's Justin Long.
Case from the...
Okay, go ahead, though. Yeah, so...
So anyways, even though he's... his methods are a little questionable, he's taking care of this woman, and like he's very devoted to seeing her heal. Mm-hmm. And he's also a blues musician, which is really cool.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I did like that. We are going to have to
He does a good-ass job.
Yeah, we're going to have to get into the message of the film, though, at some point, because I was kind of, when I rewatched it, I was like, what is this movie trying to say? I don't know if I'm down with what it's
like the
trying to
ending.
say.
I didn't like the ending of the movie.
Yeah. All right, well,
but we'll get into that later. But yeah, so seeing Sam as a musician is cool.
Yes, I agree.
And seeing him as like...
It looked like he might have actually been playing the guitar.
I was curious about that, too.
Yeah,
they had showed his fingers. I mean, him with his fingers. Like it wasn't like zooming on the guitar.
That doesn't mean anything, but I believed it.
Singing, definitely singing.
I wanted.
He was definitely singing,
and it sounded good.
Yeah, it was good.
He sounds good.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
All right. I mean, I can go next, or
yeah, go ahead then.
Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction, which for me, I mean, I was young, but
Quentin Tarentino's Pulp Fiction.
Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction, yeah. I was young when I first saw it because my dad did not care what I watched. As long as it didn't have like a lot of nudity. So I mean, like I saw like
on the borderline though, right?
So I think I feel like there is nudity in that movie. So maybe I just watched it at his house without any supervision. You know what I mean? Like just saw it.
I know it's definitely close.
I mean, that dude showed me Terminator 2 when I was like 5. I mean,
Terminator 2 is fine though.
It's bloody as hell, man.
Yeah, but it's like shit. We're in America, dude.
Anyway, oh man, Jules Winfield. First time I saw him, it was definitely at my dad's house. It must have been late at night on HBO or something like that. And he's just so freaking badass. Like he's just really cool in that role. First time I ever saw Samuel L. Jackson, and it just left a mark. And I feel like it is probably the first time that a lot of people saw him. Like, you know, Quentin Tarentino and Samuel L. Jackson, it makes sense they work together so much because both their careers sort of get jump-started by Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Quentin Tarantino, how I feel about him a little later, because I think it's necessary. Even I'm going to talk about Samuel L. Jackson's Quentin Tarantino character.
Is that the most quotable?
There's so many quotable characters. Everything Samuel Jackson says is quotable, dude. Like, we'll talk about that too, but I think that is the best role that Quentin Tarantino has given him. I think it's the best role that anyone's ever given him. Like, it's a great character. And Samuel L. Jackson owns it. And, you could never see anybody else playing that role. No one could play that role except for him. Like, it's just so good.
Nobody?
I don't want to see anybody else in that role. He's so good in it. All right. So yeah, Jules Winfield, Pulp Fiction. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then where have you been?
I'd say there's a lot of people who maybe haven't seen Pulp Fiction. I don't know any of them, but certainly they must exist.
10-year-olds who just watch YouTube all day. And even them have probably, they have seen like memes clips. And shit. Yeah, clips.
I don't want to be exclusionary is all I'm saying on this cast.
That's fine.
So anyway, speaking of exclusionary and excluding people from the Jedi Council, Mace Windu. Look, if we're talking about power level, no question. Mace Windu.
Yeah, Mace Windu's going to beat up. What if Jules just caps that dude?
You can't, though, because, I mean, look.
Oh, he'll just stop the bullet?
He'll just stop the bullet with the Force. Yeah. It's so simple. Mace Windu, just...
What if Laz just chains him up and...
I think...
Gets him to forsake the Jedi ways for Christ.
Oh, my God.
He gets Mace to turn to Christ.
I feel like we're talking about two separate universes.
Anyway, yeah.
But it's insane because... Even though you say Jules can't be separated from Samuel, I feel like Mace... no. You literally cannot.
No.
I could, maybe see someone else... Possibly, even if it's a very small chance. But when you think about Mace Windu, there's literally just no way.
Yeah.
It cannot be any other human being.
Is that his most subdued role? Because he's very subdued in it, right? He's more chill. He's got a different voice in it.
He is a little bit chill.
When I listen to it, he sounds like an octave higher. Like his voice sounds a little higher.
You think so?
Yeah, when I was watching clips.
I don't know. I've seen...
But I think it's because there is a lot...
He's not putting on his badass motherfucker voice. He's putting on
But he is, though. He is, absolutely.
Well, he's got the face. The look is still there, yeah.
In the Jedi robes and stuff?
Yeah. But no, his face. I mean,
he's still very, authoritative. He's just not yelling.
Yes.
Is the thing.
No,
But he's always there to shut down Anakin.
Please tell me he's being a little
that's
bitch. Such a great thing.
No, I love this man's
role. I love his role in the prequels so much.
And it's not only that, I feel like his performance, because the films came out before all the spin-off stuff where we love Mace, and I feel like a lot of that got pulled from who Samuel L.
exactly.
Attack of the Clones, early 2000s cartoon by the creators of Samurai Jack. If you have not seen that, you need to find it. I don't know how you find it.
I feel
it's so good, and Mace Windu has such a badass role.
I feel like Samuel, the way he was, is what led into
it shaped the character.
That's what I'm saying. And so he's responsible.
Continued onto the cartoons.
Anytime you watch a series and you see a character is a small role and then the role continues to grow, most of the time that's because the actor has made that character. It's necessary for that character to grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The most powerful.
What does he say to Anakin?
Martial Jedi of all time.
We'll be right back to Your Favorite Character Sucks after this short break. Samuel L. Jackson has enchanted us for decades. He's convinced us that burgers are tasty. He's helped us discover why there are so many snakes on certain aircrafts. And he's even helped to assemble the Avengers. But the thing that's most amazing about Samuel L. Jackson is the actor's virility. I bet you'd be surprised if I told you that Samuel L. Jackson is 56 years old. And that's because it's not true. He's actually 67, which is also not true. Samuel L. Jackson in the year 2020 is actually 71 years old. How does he look so young and stay so active? Well, Sam, as I like to call him. Oh, wait, I can't call him that? Okay, Mr. Jackson is finally letting the world in on his age-defying secrets. It's called the motherfucking method. If you subscribe to the Motherfucking Method by signing up at motherfuckingmethod.com, you'll discover tips and tricks to stay as youthful as Mr. Jackson. And our listeners are lucky enough to receive a couple of Mr. Jackson's tips free of charge, straight from the man himself. It says here that step 1 of the Motherfucking Method is to be black. Because black don't crack. Okay, that can't be right. Okay, well, let's just move on to tip number 2. It says here to stay youthful. You never say no to any project. I mean, like, that kind of makes sense. And the final tip that Mr. Jackson was nice enough to share with us, as long as you're the highest grossing box office star of all time, you're gonna look good. I mean, how are these gonna help us? So visit themotherfuckingmethod.com and sign up to receive monthly tips for youthfulness today from the 71-year-old man himself, Samuel L. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Anyway, so let's talk about something so far removed from Jedi and space and
Mace Windu.
space opera. Let's talk
Samuel
about
Jackson's
Lazarus.
role.
Let's talk about
Lazarus. Okay.
Because I think it's most fresh on my mind because I watched it the other day.
Do you want to cut to the controversy first, or do you want to just talk more about
Well, let me hear the controversy.
Well, because I did rewatch the movie and I liked him in it, but I do feel that the movie's message is one of like slut shaming and like sex, outside of the marriage is bad, and like it felt very patronizing to women.
There's a lot of suspension of disbelief that had to go on.
I don't know about suspension of disbelief. It
they
just
were
felt like
talking about how she had like some sort of disease that made her like.
It was like she had a succubus, some sexual demon inside of her.
I was like,
he was performing an exorcism.
Well, that's how they're describing it because they're religious. But I mean, basically, she clearly had sexual-based trauma. Which,
that actually does come out in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. She explains that her mom's boyfriend sexually abused her or whatever, right. And so
that's when she blew up in the supermarket or whatever.
Yeah. Also, though, the movie starts with that black and white, a musician talking about blues comes from a broken heart in a relationship, or whatever. So she had a broken heart. Samuel Jackson's character had a broken heart. I like the way that that's constructed.
Yeah, and I think them together, kind of trying to help each other heal is interesting.
He needed someone to help.
Exactly, because she obviously needed help very badly. Yeah. And his approach was pretty intense.
I think it maybe goes beyond intense. It's psychotic. Chaining someone to a radiator is psychotic.
He chains her to a radiator to prevent her from...
Yeah, because immediately after breaking up with his wife, he's kind of in a crazy place.
Oh no, without doubt.
But then their relationship grows, and he does legitimately care for her.
Oh no, absolutely.
And that's why I said I like it, because you see a kind of softer side of him.
There's a range in the character.
You see his emotional side as he's
he goes through.
He's playing his music, and he's very depressed after his wife leaves him, which is pretty interesting to see Samuel in that role. And then he's acting as caretaker, but also letting himself be vulnerable to her, so she can kind of help him in return. Because he explains how he always wanted a kid, but his wife aborted it. So this is kind of him finally getting to be a parent.
Oh man, that was messed up. That story about his wife doing that was really messed up. Yeah. So again, though, it does seem to have a very strong Christian anti-feminist message.
It is very Christian.
Because they're dogging a woman who had an abortion.
Yeah.
We don't know why we don't get her side of the story. We don't know why she had that abortion. It's like a man who's my wife had an abortion.
All we know is that
now I'm going to save this slut from her. You know what I'm saying? It can be read that way, and I'm sure some people have.
So what I didn't...
Still made
2000s,
a long time,
early 2000s maybe.
So at first because I forgot how it ended actually when I was rewatching
sluts for sluts. You know what I mean?
And yeah, I didn't think it was
that, please.
I didn't think it was necessarily going with the slut shaming route. I thought it was just kind of dealing with addiction until the end when they're like, okay, you guys clearly need each other. So what are you going to do about it? And they immediately get married. And I'm literally just 30 minutes ago, Justin Timberlake was calling her a bitch and calling Samuel L. Jackson the N-word and shit.
Oh, shit.
Had a gun to his head.
Instead of dealing with his issues, you're immediately going to, convince them to get married?
I thought there was a
Are you saying that Justin Timberlake said the N-word?
Yes.
Cancel him. Cancel him now.
Yes.
Not in a movie, obviously.
I feel as though there was a time skip there, though.
No.
You know what's interesting about
There
it?
is so many times in that movie where I thought there was a time
There
skip.
isn't? Is that what you're saying?
But then they talk about how they've been together for like a week. Her and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I thought like they were living together for a while
You know
and
what's
really
interesting?
going through this recovery. The whole movie takes place over a week.
I don't know who wrote Black Snake Moan, but I know that the person who wrote Justin Timberlake's Quentin Tarentino actually came in to write Justin Timberlake's dialogue. Just that one part.
Please.
Let me slip some N-words in this script.
Also,
There's a consultation at the minimum.
Yeah.
Samuel brought him on and he said, I know a guy who's really good at dialogue.
I read the script. No N-words in here. I think Justin Timberlake should drop them.
No. There is usage of the N-word, but it's by black people.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
It might
yeah.
not just be Samuel. It might have been the other gentleman. That
no,
was
the other dudes for sure. But also, who I was going to bring up, the racist friend, Justin Timberlake's friend.
Yeah, that guy's fucked up.
I hate
It's
that.
actually fucked that they never.
He doesn't
like-
get his comeuppance?
Yeah, I mean, him and
does.
Justin Timberlake fight because
Yeah.
he tells him that like he's been hooking up with his girlfriend.
Talk about the part where he literally beats that woman and leaves her on the street.
Written and directed by that guy.
But yeah, she never like gets to reveal like what he actually did to her.
This dude also wrote Hustle and Flow.
What the hell?
This
So
dude's
he's
writing.
writing. He wrote an Academy Award-winning
Shit.
film.
Yes.
Okay, down.
Wow.
I'll talk about Hustle and Flow all day. By the way, if we're looking for content,
That's crazy.
is he from the South?
I guess. I don't remember.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, I'm not necessarily saying the movie is great overall, but I do
You think it's worth the watch?
I do like Samuel L. Jackson's role because I think it's different from a lot of other stuff he does.
Yeah.
He's making Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America.
Wait, there's a sequel?
They're coming out with a sequel.
Well,
Eddie
it's
Murphy's coming back, and so they're going to redo all of his old movies, basically. You know, they're going to get all the juice they can out of him. Yeah.
Is there anything else to say about this, Mans?
Yeah, I do think I like the musicality of him in that.
Oh,
movie.
yeah, let's talk about that.
I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I was turned off by what I perceive as the message of the film, which seems sexist to me. But then I really did like his singing in it. I thought he did a good job. I was like, dude, this guy can fucking sing the blues. Like he could put out a record. I'd fucking listen to
He
it.
just goes for it.
I'd listen to
I think
it.
that's like half the battle. He's got a good voice
I'd listen to it, man.
for that style too.
The scene where he's like, which again, if the message of the movie is controversial, and this scene is controversial, but she's like, losing her mind, and he's like playing the
Oh,
guitar.
it's when
like
they say the name of the movie.
Yeah, Black Snake
yeah.
Moan, and
So that's the name of the
he
song.
plugs the guitar.
well, there
he
you
plugs the guitar into the amp and just fucking going for it. That was really good.
I'd be curious
Because
to see if
he
there's one
uses
playing
music to
I
like
don't know if he's playing that one
to
but
comfort
That
him.
one was really complex, but I think some of the more simple blues things he could do. But
guitar. You think that's any more impressive than like?
the licks in that song got a little more
You're
complicated.
talking about when he's playing at the bar?
No, I was saying like I think that if he can deflect force lightning with the lightsaber, he can easily play the
Yeah, he could learn some chords.
yeah
Yeah.
simple by comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if those are translatable skills.
They clearly are because he did both. So.
I don't think there's any controversy surrounding Jules in Pulp Fiction.
None at all. Absolutely, I cannot think of a single thing.
I mean, if you don't like violence, then obviously you're
I
not
thought you
gonna like
literally
film.
had a complaint about that, man.
No, I have a complaint about Quentin Tarantino.
so you
I'll
have
get
no-
to that. But Jules,
Once again, it's the film, not the character.
I think Jules is one of the most empowered characters that
I think
Samuel
another
Jackson.
side character, right?
No, I think he's the main. I
think
mean,
so?
it's an ensemble film. I
Oh,
think.
no, for sure,
But I think
but-
he does. No, I think he's pretty much the main character. Yeah, because
You would say so?
yeah, he gets a lot of play. He gets a lot of screen time, and he has an arc that's the most intriguing arc of the film for sure. I mean, the other like story is like Bruce Willis dealing with Marcellus Wallace, which that's part of the shit that I kind of want to talk about with Quentin Tarantino. But Samuel Jackson's character is pretty empowered throughout the film. Out of the two, John Travolta and him, he's clearly the leader of them. I mean, he clearly like leads the way, and John Travolta just follows.
Uh-huh.
And then John Travolta does get his own little side thing, but yeah, he's not as competent, right? I mean,
Yeah, out of the two, I mean, Samuel's the more focused one. John Travolta accidentally blasted dude in the head.
Jules also knows more French.
Is it Phil Lamar? Is that who it is?
Oh, is that Phil Lamar?
I think it is, or else I'm just me and Quentin Tarantino are like
You're
peas
gonna
in a
look it
pod.
up?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Don't look it up.
If you're wrong, cut it.
All right.
If you're right, it's staying in.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's Marvin.
Okay.
Nice.
And so?
So Phil Lamar, voice of
Hermes.
Hermes from Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
He
Samurai
does a lot.
Jack.
He's the voice of Samurai Jack.
pretty
Yes,
dope.
pretty awesome. Anyway.
And you know who else voices a famous samurai? Samuel Jackson. Wow,
oh, we didn't even do
circle.
honorable mentions.
Honorable
That's messed
mentions.
up. I feel like we're disrupting the flow. We'll do them after this.
We'll do them after.
Before we talk about the best
you talk
character.
about Mace a little bit. Well, we did talk about Mace a lot.
feel like it's-
we did talk about Mace a lot. We can do it after this.
We haven't talked about Mace yet, but we've discussed it briefly. We touched on it.
We hit him more than anyone else. I feel like from the
because he's got more depth.
From the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I don't think he has any.
It's
depth.
because Star Wars has a lot more to cover.
Yeah. So I love Jules because he's got a badass arc, which is he is this badass dude. He's got so many freaking great lines. I mean
What do you think is his best line?
Say what against, like that whole thing. That whole thing is great.
Mm-hmm.
I also love. I mean, he quote that biblical quote that he keeps bringing up anytime he reads it. When he reads it in that scene, and he's supposed to be like a badass. That's cool. When he rereads it to Tim Roth at the diner, and he's like going through it, like dissecting and saying, "I used to think I was this, but I think I'm that now." That is fucking cool. Like I love anytime he mentions
My
it.
favorite scene with him in that film is when him and John Travolta are in the car and they're talking about a quarter pounder with cheese.
Yeah,
It's an iconic scene. No, it's actually really good.
Yeah, it sets the stage for what I do like about Quentin Tarantino's writing, which is he makes mundane conversations kind of fun and interesting, and
Just makes the characters real.
Makes the characters feel real, and it a lot of times builds suspense. Like he uses in Inglourious Bastards. Remember, he comes to that house to look for the Jewish family that's hiding under the boards, and he's just having a conversation with the guy. And
builds a lot of suspense.
It builds suspense, yeah. And it's just a normal conversation. I can't even remember what they're talking about, but anyway, now the problem I have, obviously, with Quentin Tarantino, or maybe it's not obvious, I don't know. A lot of people seem to like him, but he writes the N-word in too much.
You can like him
That's
and also
fine.
have problems with.
There are movies that make sense to have the N-word in.
Like which
Django
ones?
Unchained.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
It takes place in the antebellum South. Obviously, slave owners are going to call people the N-word. However, there are shows and movies that get around it.
Do you think that the
season of Watchmen on HBO? I feel like they didn't use the N-word.
No, they did.
Maybe once or twice. I don't remember them using it a lot, and I remember being fucking terrified of the racist people in that show.
You know what? Maybe they did.
I don't
Maybe
think they
went
used it.
the other way.
I don't think they used it.
Maybe went the other side of that.
So what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to use it. And you can still build that horror.
Little different, though.
You see a slave owner with a fucking whip. You don't have to have the N-word to make it feel terrifying and real.
I don't know.
I think
for that film, probably you would need
it's fine. That film, it's fine for. But then in Pulp Fiction, especially, he writes himself into the scene, and it's the dead N-word storage scene. Jules, they just shot Marvin, or John Travolta's character shot Marvin. Jules and them go to Quentin Tarantino's house because it's a buddy that is cool. So they take him over, and Quentin Tarantino's writing himself as the cool friend. Come on, dude. Mm-hmm. First of all, you're a fucking loser. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Come on. And then the second thing is, Samuel Jackson's like, hey, we got this guy, and he goes, do you see a sign that says dead N-word storage on my house? And you can see, I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but you can see that, like, Samuel Jackson's character, he looks like he's breaking character. He smiles.
I'm going to need you to post a clip of that.
Well, I'll post a clip. He smiles, and I feel like it's like, I'm putting up with this. Like, it feels like it's a Samuel Jackson response more than it is Jules' response, actually.
It might be both.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the script? Do you know how that
I don't know.
is
I guess I have. I
Let's
could
pull
look
it
at the
up.
script. Maybe it's there, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you that's available.
But it did something that I was reading an article, and I can't remember who it was by. I tried to find it this morning so I could credit the person, but I couldn't find it. That he does time and time again in movies where he puts white actors adjacent to black actors, and he uses the black actors, or people of color even. He does it to Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Not actually Bruce Lee.
No, but his portrayal of Bruce Lee. He puts a person of color who is cool. Samuel Jackson. We see him, he's cool. We like him in that movie. And then he puts a white person next to them and has the white person get the upper hand on them, which then is like, this person is cool because of their juxtaposition to that person of color. So like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Brad Pitt's character like one-ups Bruce Lee, which felt like it betrayed the reality of who Bruce Lee was and all that stuff, but also it felt like it was just trying to like give Brad Pitt some gravitas, like he bested Bruce Lee. But it's like, why do you have to use this character of color who was a cool, interesting person? You're going to like belittle him just to make your white character seem cooler. And then he does the same thing to
Do you
Marcellus.
think that's like incidental or purposeful?
I feel like I think he really legitimately believes that black is cooler. I think he believes black people are cooler. And so then I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but I think in his script, he's thinking, how do I make this character seem cool? I have this black character who's already cool. I will make my white character interact with that black character in a way that like makes the white character cool, you know? Marcellus Wallace gets raped by fucking racist white dudes and then gets saved by a white dude who fucked him over. Mm-hmm. Like, Bruce Willis is in the wrong. He's supposed to throw the match, which you could argue, but he didn't have to do that.
Sure.
He could have not agreed to that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he bet against it.
So you're telling that he made an agreement.
Fucked it up. And then Marcellus Wallace tried to get him back. Marcellus Wallace ends up getting raped by these racist rednecks. And then Bruce Willis goes and saves him.
Truly the most terrifying fate that anybody can imagine.
And when I first watched the movie, I was like, dude, this is fucking crazy. Like, I was real into it. But then when I started thinking about who Quentin Tarantino is and the way he's writing for these characters, it didn't sit well with me anymore after that. But
so you don't like Pulp Fiction?
I like Pulp Fiction. I have problems with a couple of scenes. I think it's Samuel L. Jackson's best character.
So what's left? Mace?
Mace.
Excellent character.
What makes him great?
What makes him not great? Nothing.
I think he doesn't get enough screen time.
You don't think so? I think he gets just enough screen time to make it interesting. Okay, so let's just go through the prequels one by one. So
episode 1, I mean,
he's very briefly.
We don't see him until the council.
It's very minor in that.
Yeah.
Does he turn down Anakin? I know Yoda's like, we shouldn't take Anakin.
I think you're right. He is sort of like the mouthpiece.
Does he say we shouldn't take Anakin?
He says that he's too.
I think he does turn him down.
That. He has a very, very minor role, but I think people like seeing him in that role, and that he gets a much bigger role in the next film.
So good.
Like literally,
one of 2 black men in all of the Star Wars universe,
and they're both awesome. I love both those characters. We got Lando Calrissian, and we have Mace Windu, both insane.
Billy D. Williams,
and both actors are really cool.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and they're both kind of minor roles.
But they elevate. But the fans love them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're sick.
Mace Windu, the only dude with a purple lightsaber in the entire...
By his own request.
By his own request, which is
cool.
Samuel L. Jackson.
And now it's just a part of canon?
Yeah.
So you can't imagine there not being a Mace Windu with a purple lightsaber, but he did not originally have one.
Yeah.
And that purple lightsaber is everything. Because like...
Oh, it's amazing.
Because
what sets him apart.
Literally Jack knows nothing about the character or anything, but he sees purple lightsaber and he's like, I want that.
And also, I know this is not
my
intentional.
2-year-old son.
And you sort of like ascribe things to things that are... And they might not have any connection. A purple lightsaber is somewhere in between red and blue.
Yeah, ooh,
which is the same as Mace's. Mace's character is the one like Jedi on the council. Him and also Qui-Gon Jinn to some respect. And I don't want to turn this into a Star Wars thing. He toes the line between light side and dark side very, very closely. Like he has all the...
He learns Sith fighting styles.
Yeah, use of aggression and things of that sort, which is why he's able to combat Sith Lords so effectively. Like Palpatine, he makes him his bitch.
And General Grievous in the cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
People think that General Grievous is just some like lame ass dude in the third movie, but
he slays Jedi.
In the cartoons, it shows how amazing he is, and Mace Windu crushes that dude's like windpipe,
which is why he's wheezing in the third movie.
In the third movie, it's because of Mace Windu. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Mace, he gets a little more screen time in Attack of the Clones, which is the most forgettable. I think that might be the worst. Second worst. It's the second worst.
It's a cool scene though when he comes in at the end to the gladiator arena.
Yeah, no. That's very good. That's the first time you see the purple lightsaber.
Yeah.
The main, I think, scene that he gets, the one he always shuts down Anakin. I love it.
It's so good.
So Palpatine's trying to put a mole essentially in the Jedi Council. He tells them that this is this and this. And Mace says, okay, well, you can be on the council.
And they all know that.
Yeah, we do not grant you the rank of master. And that dude gets so upset about it.
Honestly,
which might have led to his downfall.
It's what pushes him further to the dark side, realistically.
And the thing is...
So wait, Mace is responsible for the rise of the Empire.
Yes.
God damn.
Well, certainly in some ways. I would everybody has their role.
Missteps.
But the thing is, Anakin does go to Mace whenever he learns that Palpatine is the Lord. Yeah. So Mace is the guy he goes to.
He does he tells Mace that Palpatine's the Sith Lord.
Because he knows this is when Mace is on his way to confront Palpatine. Yeah. He knows.
But also, Palpatine plays that fake news card bullshit. And he uses Mace Windu's aggressiveness against the Jedis. He uses it to prove to Anakin that the Jedis are wrong. Yeah.
And so that's what I think that is kind of cool about Mace. I mean...
Mace played into Palpatine's hand.
Truly a dominant fighter. Yeah. And he's smart. He's a master tactician, all those sorts of things.
But doesn't he decide to put down Palpatine? And that's why Anakin...
I think that's
his mistake.
He says the classic line... He's
too dangerous to be left alive.
Yeah.
That's the exact line.
So he defeats him.
Yeah.
And then Anakin says he needs to stand trial.
Yeah.
And
which
Mace,
would be the Jedi way, right?
Yeah, but Mace says no, he's too dangerous to be left alive.
And what's insane is...
Which, I mean, is true. But yeah.
He's got him by the throat.
He does whoop him.
And people say, oh, well, he was just, Nolan act.
I think he was playing to an extent.
I think Mace would have just wiped the floor with that dude. I think if Anakin never comes, Mace just kills that guy. And that's just it. So Mace kills that man. like I said, Mace, he's one of those dudes who's willing to break the Jedi code.
Yeah,
He
complex.
says, I don't care. I'll kill this man because he has to be killed.
Yeah. More complex than just a typical Jedi.
I think so. I think that people like Yoda, you guys say you like Yoda. I don't know. Yoda's always...
But I mean, they're characters that adhere strictly to things can also be interesting because that's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to stray from something. I mean, but
that's just... The thing is, that's Mace's character. And a lot of that was built around, I think, Samuel's performance.
No, it's a choice. He's not straying from the Jedi because he's weak. He's doing it because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
I think it's because he's strong. He knows that he can take that burden upon himself and not fall to the dark side.
He's the Count Dooku of the Jedi. He's the opposite. Because Count Dooku is in between Jedi and Sith.
Oh, yeah. An incredible lightsaber fighter also.
I can't wait to talk about Count Dooku. That's probably my character for prequel.
But...
Or somebody. One of us is going to pick
The thing is, Mace... is awesome even among the Jedi in the Star Wars universe because he's the strongest martial fighter. He knows every single lightsaber style.
Yeah.
Right? He's better than everybody in every lightsaber style. He still is pretty good with the Force. He's got decent mastery of the Force, and he deflects the Force lightning of Emperor Palpatine. And the only reason that Mace gets iced, and I hate this so bad. I cannot stand how they did my man's wrong here.
But it's your third favorite movie.
Yes.
Despite these flaws, go ahead.
Yeah, and despite that, and that's the thing is, I think that I hate that moment so much because I love Samuel as Mace Windu. I'm like, this amazing character, so unique in the Star Wars universe, in so many ways, just gets killed by this man.
I was holding out so much hope that
he's
he would
alive,
survive,
and there's like a side story.
That would be so badass.
But they never do it.
Mace just gets flung out of a window after
Hand cut off. Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah, it's not that
flung
big.
out of a window.
I mean,
you can force pull your you can survive that.
Mace of all people. That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, it's so offensive when he gets killed that way. It's because you care about that character.
Yeah. Hashtag Mace Windu is still alive.
That's why it hurts so much.
It hurts so much.
You see those other masters get iced, and you're like, oh, those dudes suck. Yeah. But yeah, you see him get thrown out the window.
Not my fucking mans.
Mace Windu, Tupac, and Biggie are all in a fucking
in
Cuba right now.
They're literally in Cuba. Yeah. It's insane.
Chilling with Fidel Castro because he's not dead either. Yeah. All true. I mean, there's no debate here.
It is legitimate. And even though I have seen that scene, heard it I'm not even joking, 100 times.
More. Seriously, more.
Every day for 2 years straight when I came over to this exact house that we're in right now.
For the listeners, my stepdad basically watches that movie every single night before going to bed. Or at least turns it on and falls asleep to it. And then we have to hear the rest of the movie.
His daily affirmation is
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there are people with enough passion about this character that they're willing to relive that scene over. It's etched in this man's mind. And it's etched into my mind too. And the thing is, every time you're like, man.
What if we were like, why do you love Revenge of the Sith so much? You'd be like, what's Revenge of the Sith? What if you just had no idea?
But you get what I'm saying.
Do you like Mace Windu? Who's Mace Windu?
Yeah. We all
just lead to it every day.
We all hate that part because we love Mace Windu. And it's so shitty.
Yeah.
It is, I think, the shittiest part.
It sucks the most because it's Anakin.
Yeah.
And because we love watching him fucking say fuck you to Anakin every scene.
We love it when Anakin gets shit on.
Anakin gets the last laugh.
No, it sucks so bad.
It's his descent to the dark side. I mean, you could argue that it starts way before that. But
that's when he
the nail in the
coffin.
coffin. Nail in the coffin is when he kills.
Oh, yeah. Because he goes straight from killing Mace Windu to killing babies.
Yeah.
So,
it's insane.
It's his Breaking Bad moment for sure.
No, it's like an exponential growth. It's like, whoop.
Yeah. So Mace is, responsible for Darth Vader in a way.
He's unique in so many ways in the Star Wars universe. I think he's one of the most interesting characters, period. I think there's Darth Vader.
How many big name actors have broken into the Star Wars universe and gotten a pretty strong role like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like most of the time they try to cast people who are not that well known. And they don't get, like, the big name actors who appear, it'll be like Phasma, Captain Phasma. It's like...
You get like a little cameo.
You get a cameo.
I really only
Samuel
know...
Jackson was supposed to be a cameo. I'm certain.
I think so too, but I think people just...
He was so good.
He's... Like I said, the commanding presence.
Yeah.
He's like the mouthpiece of the council, and he's got the authority, but like you said, he is a little softer. And it just feels so bad when he dies.
Y'all, listen back to his character in Pulp Fiction and then Mace Windu. I think it's an octave higher. I think he does... He plays...
You think that's intentional? I guess.
Well, I think whenever you put on your badass voice, you get a little deeper.
I think Mace Windu is a very badass.
I think he's badass, but
he's still a Jedi Master, which is going to be more.
It's like when you're like a parent and you go, you need to clean your room right now.
I can't relate.
When you like whisper, put on that voice and like look, then it has some It's
I don't know.
it's equivalent to yelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't relate to either side of that conversation because I'm not a parent. And I was never a child.
You were never yelled at?
No, not really. Maybe I needed to be yelled at a little bit.
That's true. Well, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Come on, nerds. You know what it is. Every episode I get on here and beg you to follow us and like our stuff and blah, 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 blah. If you haven't done it by now, then you're just lazy. Twitter and Instagram at YFCSPod. Hit the subscribe button. Like, rate it. If you want to be extra, you can review it. Just a little thing like, hey, this is an awesome podcast. Click, reviewed, done. All right, not going to waste any more of your time. Back to the show.
Frozone.
Okay, no, let's talk about honorable mentions. Honey, where is my super suit?
Quotable. Everything Samuel Jackson says is quotable.
Insane. And I was telling Brandon didn't even know that was Samuel.
I didn't even know that was him.
What?
No,
it looks like him. They drew the
a little bit, yeah,
like him. It is like him.
It's very exaggerated.
It's got the slender look. Samuel Jackson's got that slender look. Yeah.
I also believe,
I wouldn't
Samuel
describe
Jackson.
that man as slender.
We did discuss that he was on the English dub of Afro Samurai, right?
Yeah.
I like that film.
Yeah.
Or not film, I guess. Series?
It's a mini-series, yeah.
It's got
I've
interesting
never
stuff.
seen it. Is it
It's
good?
dope, yeah.
It's cool. What other stuff that we liked him in?
So he's in a few Spike Lee movies, or at least one. No, he's in a few. Do the Right Thing he's in. I watched that. Very good movie. I wish I'd seen it sooner. It also is a very painful movie to watch because it was made in 1991, and it feels like the same racial tensions that are happening right now.
Snakes on a Plane?
No. Samuel Jackson's character in that movie is Senior Love Daddy, and he's a DJ, so he's playing the music the whole movie. I honestly don't like him in the movie, but it's because of Spike Lee's dialogue. And I think Spike Lee's dialogue in the movie is good except for Senior Love Daddy. It's annoying. He'll say something and then he'll flip it and say it almost immediately, but backwards. And it's just really, it gets annoying. Like it's not cool. It's supposed to be like a cool thing that he does, and it's not cool.
Not cool by
not even Samuel Jackson.
By your estimation.
Yeah, but Samuel Jackson, he's silly in the movie. It's an interesting character, but it's not his best. I mean, by any means.
Anything else?
I don't know what else he's in for Spike Lee. He's in a couple other things.
We talk about Glass at all?
Glass. That's what we need to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if there was a fourth person here, then Glass would get some representation.
A trilogy? The whole trilogy?
Glass is
Talk about the whole trilogy?
Yeah.
Well, he's not in the middle one, is what you're saying.
He's not in the...
Not in the one with James McAvoy?
He doesn't make an appearance in it?
No. Only Bruce Lee. Or Bruce Willis.
Bruce Lee makes an appearance?
Bruce Lee?
Yeah, that guy's also alive, by the way.
Yeah,
in Cuba.
Tupac Mace, yeah.
Jeez. What a roster they're assembling over there. The dream team, surely.
Yeah.
I'm just... Yeah. You say Bruce Lee once, and that's all I can think about. That's my man's.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis makes a cameo at the very end. I think when they released it, you weren't supposed to know that it's
their Pulp Fiction reunion movie.
A direct
Unbreakable.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were related at first.
Were they supposed to be related until Glass?
I looked at...
Bruce Willis makes an appearance at the end of...
At the end, that's what connects them. Split. He makes an appearance at the end of Split. James McAvoy.
All right, well then I believe that it's a trilogy.
Yeah, I think it's
it was intentional. I don't think after Unbreakable he intended on making any more. But then I think when he made Split, he was like,
and then they made.
There was so much
Glass.
time in between Unbreakable and Split.
It's a stealth
sequel.
So
I saw Unbreakable.
Nobody knew it was a sequel until.
Yeah.
I saw Unbreakable. I think his character is interesting in that movie. He believes in comic books. Like he has his. I think he's really cool because he's got this weakness. His bones are like glass. He breaks bones easily. Yeah. And some people would give up. Some people would view that as I'm weak, I'm nothing or whatever. But he sees it as, yes, it's a weakness, but he gets so obsessed about comic books and stuff that he's like, I have a weakness because I also have a strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he believes in comic books so much that everybody in a comic book has a weakness and a strength. So I've got to have a strength, and he decides
also forms of destiny. And
he decides. He decides that he has intelligence and decides that he's going to do these things.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes central from what I was reading in Glass, which is it's all about realizing.
The realization is just I think a method of storytelling. They are also superpowered.
Yeah,
it does go without saying that they are superpowered.
But Glass's opinion is that there are more people like that, and they just don't realize it.
Yeah, one of the main things is that
we're all powerful, or a lot of us are powerful. We just don't know.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's about unlocking the mind for sure.
He unlocks Bruce Willis's mind.
Absolutely.
Only so that Bruce Willis can be his hero to his villain.
His nemesis.
Which is wild.
Sure. No, that's an insane way of thinking. You think, okay, well...
It's backwards for villains.
My bones are very brittle, but I have the super intelligence thing. That means that there's someone out there that's physically very, very powerful, but also has some sort of
It's also, it feels backwards though for villains. Like I feel like villains, they commit crimes and they do things because they have these reasons, and then a hero comes and stops them, and then they have a grudge against the hero.
Yeah.
But it's a very like, he wanted to create the hero. Like
he went the wrong way.
He's committing villainy. He's committing acts of villainy to create the hero.
Correct.
It's really cool. I like that. I like that character a lot, honestly. What's another Samuel L. Jackson role?
Oh, if you can't think of it off the top of your head.
Yeah, honorable mentions. We got to realize.
I said Snakes on a Plane. I really don't even know the character, but it's just such an absurd.
There are just a lot of lines.
How did that film go to theaters? That's like Tremors level of shittiness, but
Samuel L. Jackson. That's how.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson.
You're telling me just carries the film?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
That one quote in the trailer, just you're gonna see.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. He's also in Jackie Brown, but I haven't seen that movie in such a long time, so I can't tell you.
I think I watched that a while ago.
Yeah. Jackie Brown is the point of the movie. He's a side. I'm saying she's like the.
Yeah, sure.
He's the side character.
Yeah. He plays a lot of side characters.
Yeah.
Generic IT guy in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
You don't even need to know the character's name, but you just remember.
Yeah. And
another one where he unfairly gets iced.
Well, he heroically goes to try to like shut down something or restart the system or whatever. But there are raptors wherever he goes, wherever.
Yeah, velociraptors.
Velociraptors, yeah, and they get rid of him. I mean, you don't get to see it.
They eat him.
I don't think you get to see it, but then because you're surprised by it, right? Because
they have.
She
who's the actress? Yeah,
Laura Dern.
Yeah,
it is Laura Dern, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so Laura Dern goes to like shut down or restart the system, whatever the case may be, and I think she either before she does it or after she does it. She opens a door and something comes out and touches her, and she thinks it's a velociraptor, so she flips out. But then she sees the darkness of the skin on the arm.
Tell me the black hand of.
She doesn't see anything but an arm, and she immediately, whatever his character's name is, she like what? Let's say his name's Jeff, right? She sees the arm.
His
and she
name's
goes,
not Jeff.
Okay. What you
can't pick Jeff because Jeff Goldblum is in the film. Come on.
Okay. Let me see what.
Because then if you say Jeff, people are going to think you're talking about what is his name? Ian.
I don't know.
All right, Ray. His name is Ray.
Thank you.
So she goes. So the arm falls. She screams, and then she sees the arm. She doesn't see him. She sees the arm, and she goes, "Oh, Ray, thank God." So that means there's only one black dude on that entire island. She immediately knew that.
So you're saying, much like in Star Wars, the only black person.
Samuel Jackson oftentimes plays the only black character.
That's true.
Which he's gotten flack for by Spike Lee, even for his closest to Quentin Tarantino, because he's made excuses for Quentin Tarantino using the N-word.
He defends him.
He says that an artist is going to do what they do. I can't tell Quentin Tarantino what to write. But then he also says like...
He also says things like, he's definitely not a racist.
He says he's definitely not racist. He says that he writes the dialogue that those characters would speak. Mm. Okay, but that cool friend character...
Yeah, he also writes the dialogue for his own character.
Didn't have to exist. That character did not have to exist.
No.
They could have dumped that body anywhere. I mean, the fixer who comes, like, takes the car to a dump and, like, trash compacts it. They could have done that.
No, for sure.
He wrote himself into that scene, used the N-word, like, he did not have to do that. He shoehorned that in. And so, yeah, like, he writes dialogue to stay true to the character. I'm like, nah, bro, you're brainwashed. Like, and some people have, like, said, like, he plays Steven, the, like, house slave in Django Unchained, which we didn't mention that character.
Oh, good character.
But some people are like, he is Quentin Tarantino's house slave, and he's playing...
I don't like that.
I've heard people make that equivocation, saying,
I don't like that, dude.
He's Tarantino's Steven, and now he's playing Tarantino's Steven in
I think they just have a mutual... like understanding
but
or
also,
like working relationship because they just do so many things.
Jamie Foxx also defended him whenever people brought up, you think he's using the word too much. Jamie Foxx said,
So, I mean, I don't personally have an issue because I'm not...
And I love Jamie Foxx and Django. That was a good movie.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to detract from him either. I think he does work.
I think in Glorious Bastards and Django Unchained...
Are his best works? You think so?
No, I think those are the ones that, despite all the things I don't like about him, those movies are so good for what they do. Like,
absolutely.
They have such a positive thing to do. Like, revenge on hate, like bigotry and hatred and racism and all that stuff. Sure. I love that so much that I'm like, I'll watch those movies, again.
So you're not willing to cancel him because he does good work?
No, I don't like him. I'm not going to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm not going to... like I said, The Hateful Eight, even though Samuel Jackson's a main character, I don't really like that movie that much. I think it's just, So anyway. It's not
plays what is it, like a former Northern Army, major or something like that?
There's some interesting things, but that movie's way too long.
It's a little slow, I will admit. I mean, a film that is 99%
and even for
dialogue.
Tarantino, it's it's
by any measure.
It's too much. The violence is just insane.
I think it's fine. I always assume that there's going to be gratuitous violence in a Tarantino film. So
Django is incredibly violent.
Oh, without that last shootout
or
scene is
Inglourious
insane.
Bastard, all
Right,
of them are
but you're watching
incredibly violent.
you're watching slave owners get theirs. You're watching like Nazis get theirs.
You know Minions
Yes.
from Despicable Me.
Yes, the Samuel Jackson voice Minions.
No, but you know, I want to tell you. Well, we come so close to Hitler. I have to say this. You know,
they use the N-word too much?
So there is lore behind Minions.
Yeah.
Now, because they're so like popular amongst like 40-something white women that post memes on Facebook, but the lore behind
All right, staying in the podcast now.
Minions, and this was, I think, described in the film Minions.
Yeah.
They are genetically hardwired to seek out the most evil person on the planet and serve under them.
Did they not serve Hitler then?
The reason why they did not serve Hitler, it had to be written into the lore of Minions.
Because they were so worried about that?
It's because, obviously you can't address that, right?
Yeah.
Is that they were serving 150 years of self-imposed exile for accidentally shooting Napoleon Bonaparte with a cannon.
That seems real convenient, Minions.
So they're in Antarctica.
It's like the Catholic Church. Like when you're like, what was the Catholic Church doing when the Nazis were around? They're like, we were doing an exile too. We were just like the Minions. We were just doing an exile.
Probably just doing what the Catholic Church always does, which is
allowing genocides to happen, not saying anything.
Allowing genocides, allowing pedophilia, just all sorts of things. Anyway,
is this staying in the cast or?
It has to now.
Okay.
Let's talk about.
I'm going to cut the fact that we said we were going to cut it.
Let's talk about categories.
Well, hold on. Do we get?
I think we've covered pretty much everything we need to cover. What more could there be?
There's got to be another scene. Nick Fury.
Oh shit, that's true.
While it's a minor character.
Also, they changed that character just straight up from white to black.
Yeah, which is cool. Without much complaint, I feel like.
Why is it cool?
Because
I would say it doesn't matter.
Wait, are you
I would say it doesn't matter.
Like Tarantino, you think black is cooler?
I think that
that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's why I married Erica, so people think I was cool.
Oh no!
It honestly, it all makes sense. It actually.
Oh no!
Damn.
Jesus, it's the only reason
it just got way hotter in this room. I don't know why.
So you're saying the only reason that Lauren is with me is
yes.
Oh no!
She just wanted to marry a person of color. Yeah. God dang it, dude.
But he is white for sure. The
reason I'm saying it's cool is because I feel like for whatever reason, anytime a character goes from white to black, there's like a fucking huge uproar.
I know, that's true.
But I don't feel like there was that. I don't remember there being a Nick Fury uproar.
You know why? Because nobody can oppose Samuel L. Jackson because
Is it that?
he just does a good job.
I thought you were going to say like Nick Fury is such like no one gives a shit about Nick Fury.
Nick Fury is a very important character.
It's a comic book nerds, yes. Comic book nerds.
I feel like it just has a very important role just in general.
Yeah, I think the billions of dollars generated by moviegoers don't give a shit about that, but the core maybe like 100 million out of the.
I'm just saying that Nick Fury has been fighting a secret war for decades.
Yeah.
Across multiple planes of existence.
Why did it take so long to get Samuel Jackson a fucking eye patch? Because that shit looks cool too.
No, that is very cool.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing him at it's definitely very exciting. Seeing him assemble the squad for the first time.
Yeah.
Now a lot of that is worn off because we're a decade and a half removed from it.
Yeah.
But he gets up to a lot of shit in the comics.
He plays a bigger role in like the Captain America films. I feel like.
Oh yeah, the ones where there's not
Captain
Thor
Marvel
and shit like
Captain
that.
Marvel. They like use CGI to make him look younger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's like pretty
and full
close
of hair.
with it, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So tell us about A Time to Kill.
So
It's A Time to Kill sounds like the name of an Ian Fleming novel.
First
you
of
could
all,
tell me A Time to Kill.
It's John Grisham. It's
Oh,
a
God.
very American.
I don't want to talk about
legal story.
So on the front of the novel, is there a picture of like a gavel? Or something like that. No disrespect to Mr. Grisham.
No, it's
that man's
there's
doing
a few
it.
really good.
That man's doing it. Yeah.
There's a few good movies though, and this one included. So
I don't even care what I'm talking about. This man produces novels at a rate that rivals Stephen King. This man just pumps it out.
So Samuel Jackson plays Carl Lee Haley, who man living in the South, and these rednecks come through his town.
Always the worst.
And his daughter's 10 years old. It's fucking awful. They pick up his daughter and beat her and rape her. Okay.
Why would you bring this into my life? I didn't need to hear about this.
So they do horrible stuff to his daughter.
Jesus.
And she manages to survive. And she goes back and tells like her father who did it. He goes to the police. The police arrest the 2 men, but Samuel Jackson's pissed off about it. And he goes to his friend, who's Matthew McConaughey, is a lawyer. And he's like, he talks to him and he's like, I heard this one case, these guys, they raped this girl and they got off or whatever. And he goes, you think they'll get off? And he goes, Matthew McConaughey's like, it depends on who the jury is. And he goes, in this county, they might. It's going to be an all-white jury probably. And so Samuel Jackson goes and gets a fucking AK-47, and the day that they're going to go to trial just to hear their plea, innocent or guilty, he goes into the fucking courtroom in front of hundreds of people and blasts them both. And he incidentally shoots a police officer in the knee. He doesn't mean to, but it hits the guy in the knee. Mm-hmm. The cast is fucking insane. Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, Kevin Spacey, Ashley Judd, Oliver Platt, who's in a lot of great movies. Kiefer Sutherland, dude. Donald Sutherland. What's the dude's name? Chris Cooper, who I don't know him by name, but he's in a lot of films. Charles S. Dutton plays the police chief. Fucking all-star cast, dude. It's a really good movie. This is the movie where the quote comes from. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Such a good meme. Yeah. Such a good meme. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he's getting grilled.
He's getting grilled. Kevin Spacey is in his face.
Man, fuck Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, fuck Kevin Spacey for sure.
God.
Yeah. We as the general public did not know.
Yeah.
Actors at that time arguably did know because they were,
So we're saying we should hold Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey
and Samuel Jackson.
Really all of Hollywood.
But Samuel Jackson kills these people in front of hundreds of people, and then Matthew McConaughey is trying to get him off on an insanity plea or whatever. Mm-hmm. But really, they make it clear, they say it's an insanity plea, but there's a lot of winking of y'all know you would have done the same thing. Matthew McConaughey is the white savior of this movie in the 1996 film A Time to Kill. He's the white savior because his house gets burned, all this shit happens.
You know how I know this film has a white
Jackson.
savior situation? It's because Sandra Bullock's in it.
Because Samuel Jackson's the only named black actor, the big name black actor in the film. Yeah,
you know how it goes.
Sandra Bullock is in a lot of white savior movies, though. The Blind Side.
I have no issue with Sandra Bullock.
No, I like her. Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock's.
I don't care about her.
She should not have won an Oscar for The Blind Side, though. There's a cool scene where Matthew McConaughey is talking to Samuel Jackson. It's the day before the what is it called? The last statement that you make. The closing statements.
I said this.
You said this in the first podcast.
I said this on the first podcast. Yeah. We should not even pretend to.
Closing statements is what it's called. He makes a closing statement. He's going to make closing statement to the jury. He's talking to Samuel Jackson about it, and Samuel Jackson goes he's like, here's the problem. He goes, the people in the jury and you are the same. He goes, you're the enemy. He's like, you don't understand what it's like. And he goes, as long as you see me as a black man, and he goes, because you do, they do to a greater extent, but you do to a minor extent. They see me as an N-word, you see me as a black man. And he goes, you don't see me as a man, you see me as a black man. And it's a pretty cool, conversation they had. But then it inspires Matthew McConaughey. So, he's the white savior, but, every white savior needs to be inspired by the black character in the film.
Stop
so,
it.
Samuel Jackson.
We need to move on. This is too much.
No, we're making fun of it. I don't like it. Good movie. And one of his best lines. I love that line.
Really?
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. It's so good. The way he delivers it is so good.
Well, you know what they say. He's too dangerous to be left alive. Anyway, let's move on.
Sure.
Black Snake Moan, we got it. We got a quote from that one.
I don't.
Oh shit! We didn't talk about Deep Blue Sea.
No, we didn't talk about Deep Blue Sea.
Oh my god! There's too many things to talk about.
We just gotta move.
Look,
can we just?
We
need to limit.
All right.
He's in too many things. We can't cover his whole filmography.
You're right.
If we keep going, it's never ending.
All right, Deep Blue Sea, coolest death in any movie. Samuel Jackson's in Deep Blue Sea. Comes out of nowhere.
How many other films does he die in?
I don't know, but it comes Star Wars.
That death.
That's not a cool
I
death.
hated that so bad.
We're coming to the end of the first season of Your Favorite Character Sucks, and we've got a lot to be proud of. Matt, Bran, and I spent a lot of time researching, some of our own money renting movies and episodes of shows. I keep forgetting to cancel my subscription to Nick Hits that I needed to get in order to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then we've got to find time to actually record these things. We're proud of the research we put in. We're proud of the quality of the episode. We love finding really passionate guests. But one thing that we're not too fond of is our current struggle with audio quality. For Season 2, we're really hoping that we can have upgraded equipment so that not only is the content great, but the audio quality is as good as we can possibly make it. And that's where you come in. If you find yourself enjoying every episode of this podcast that you hear, then please consider going to our Patreon where you can be a paid subscriber. Whether it be $1 a month, $2, $5, $10, no more than that. Anything you can give helps us know that we've got something really special that people want to hear, and it would give us the confidence needed to go out and buy expensive equipment and to continue to take time out of our lives to make these episodes happen. So please consider visiting our Patreon, where you can become a paid subscriber at patreon.com/YFCSpod. That's patreon.com/YFCSpod. You can also Google search Your Favorite Character Sucks Patreon, and you should be able to find our page. Soon we'll have a video up explaining what donating means. We're not just going to accept your money to help us increase the audio quality, but we're also going to provide special offers for people who do become paid members of our podcast. So again, guys, you don't have to, but if you like what you hear and you appreciate the work that we do, please consider going to patreon.com/YFCSpod. The more we get, the more confident we'll be to go and spend our own money buying better equipment to make our podcast even better. Thank you for listening to Your Favorite Character Sucks. We really appreciate it. All right, back to the show.
Well, we've arrived.
Three-dimensional characters. I would argue that Jules...
Out of the three.
Jules grows. I mean, that's the point of his character in the movie, is that he goes from being a cold-blooded hitman to then... And quoting this Bible quote to sound badass, and then finally having a near-death experience, and then understanding the Bible quote, or at least starting to think about it, and then deciding to become a hermit. I mean, he almost like, he's like, I'm going to be just going to travel and think about things, and I'm not going to kill people anymore. He's like, I'm done killing. He gives up killing in that movie. It's really, he's a hitman who gives up killing. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool arc. So I think he's really three-dimensional. Black Snake Moon. I think that character's got.
I'd say Laz is also, because
the very name implies it, right?
Yeah, you start the film with him like overreacting to his wife leaving him, and him
overreacting or just reacting. I mean,
it's definitely an overreaction. You don't
almost slitting his brother's throat.
Is kind of brother. Did they have an affair though?
Huh?
Yes, that was the point.
I mean, if they had an affair, that's pretty fucked up.
But you still don't his life over.
It's definitely fucked up. I don't think you should ever kill anyone for anything, but
I do think you should kill people for some reasons, but that is not one of them.
But Brandon thinks Hitler got off. They killed him too rough.
He killed himself, so that's out of anyone's hands.
He's on that island with Tupac.
Oh, shit.
Mace Windu.
They're all just going to beat the shit out of him forever.
They're just beating the shit out of him.
Just stop.
He gets to the island, he's like,
I'll be safe here.
God damn it.
And he's beating the shit out of him.
Oh, Lord. Can we move?
Anyways, Laz starts off, obviously, in a very bad place. Very angry and depressed. And then you learn about his backstory, and he grows to, overcome the challenge of his wife leaving him, and he becomes Ray's caretaker, I guess.
Yeah. Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
Who had like a real renaissance for a while.
That's also how you know this movie's old, because she's in it.
But she was like, she had a moment there for like 10 years where she was in a lot of stuff. Maybe even like 5 years, honestly.
Sure.
Casper, and it goes hard.
I hate that film so much.
That's a good movie. Casper?
It's literally not good.
It launched a bunch of bad Casper movies, that's for sure.
Yeah. That Casper
in comparison to the other Casper movies.
That Casper movie is a bad movie, so yes, it would launch a bunch of other bad movies. That movie is
that was an terrible.
Let us know. Twitter, Instagram. We have a Facebook even. Let us know if Casper was a good film or not.
It's not. It's just not a good film, objectively. It's just bad.
All right.
There's too many hijinks. Who designed this mansion?
Three-dimensional Mace.
Nah. My boy is just who he is.
I don't think he's as three-dimensional as our characters. However, I do like... He's more complex than a typical Jedi.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure.
For a Jedi, yes.
I think that's cool.
No, that is one thing that separates him a lot. Also, I don't know. I feel like we do give him a lot of shit for shitting on Anakin, but even though he views Anakin in a negative light, he is willing to... Because after Anakin tells him all that stuff, remember, he's like, okay, we're going to confront him now. Just wait here. We'll come back and talk to you about it. Just don't come with us, because he knew at that point, I think.
Oh, he knew exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he suspected him, I think.
Yeah. But I think that, not your typical Jedi, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's no, rebirth or anything like that, He just is sort of who he is.
So what do we like more? I don't know. I'd be willing to call it a draw. I don't know if Jules is more or less complex than his character in Black Snake Moon. I think they both have an arc.
Yeah.
They both have a history that comes up. They both maybe even Black Snake Moan more than Jules has a history.
I think maybe not because this one feels like very forced upon him. Yeah. As opposed to like it's less of a choice, but like an adaptation that he's forced to make based upon the circumstances.
All right. So either way, not Mace, but one of those two probably. Plot driving. He's central to the plot of
he is just the main character of Black Snake Moan.
Of Black Snake Moan for sure. Yeah.
Mace is not at all plot driving.
He's definitely not a main character.
We talked about he helps drive Anakin to the dark
side. He's
just one of the many pawns that sort of the Emperor moves around, I think.
Yeah.
And whether or not he realizes that specific thing.
Like in the first two movies, no, but in the third one...
He saves them at the stadium.
That's true. Yeah, he definitely...
That's true. Yeah, not a main character, but still pretty important to the plot.
I love his role in the third movie. I think his role in the third movie is solid, and I think it does... it is the turning point.
That is, It
is
for sure. That's when Anakin turns to the dark side, when he kills Mace, essentially.
Yeah. But he's so central to the... he is the movies.
Even though Anakin did not strike the blow, he killed Mace. Yeah. That's kind of what it comes down to.
I would say Black Snake Moan, he's the main... he doing everything.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, it's an ensemble cast.
There's so many...
I would say he's the most important
He's the most memorable character to me from
really?
the movie. Yeah.
From Pulp?
Yeah, who else would it be? Bruce Willis?
I just... Whenever I think of Pulp Fiction, the scene I think about the most is with John Travolta and Uma Thurman dancing.
I do think of...
Dancing in the diner.
I do think about that a lot.
Second, I think of... the first thing I think of is the diner scene, Honey Bunny.
Yeah.
And I love that scene with Samuel Jackson and Tim Roth is so good.
It's okay. Yeah.
And then what most people have said when I asked them Samuel Jackson if they go to Pulp Fiction, we'll do the shout.
Say what again?
But Eddie, the say what again.
Say what again.
Eddie. As soon as I said who's the best Samuel L. Jackson character, he didn't even say Pulp Fiction. He goes, say what again, motherfucker? Like Eddie just quoted it, and I was like, that's it.
Yeah, most quotable. Pulp Fiction for sure.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Pretty good. Okay.
Although there are good quotes from Star Wars, they're more like almost comical in a way.
Samuel Jackson. Samuel
memes.
Jackson is a badass. Most badass character. It's hard to say. He's so badass as Mace Windu.
I think it's just Mace.
He's quintessential badass. He's a fucking hitman in Pulp Fiction. He's also a fucking badass in that movie.
I think the badassery in Star Wars transcends the mundane forms of badassery.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's very hard to compare fantasy sci-fi to our very realistic.
Fantasy knight wielding a blade of pure purple.
You compare them relatively. So in his universe,
the coolest guy.
He's the coolest guy in
I think he is the coolest Jedi.
in Star Wars.
I legitimately think in the prequels he is the coolest character.
Quentin Tarantino agrees.
Yeah. And that's why he shows Anakin getting the upper hand on him. He was also involved in that.
The upper hand? Because his hand was...
Oh, Lord. Yeah, as he was striking
the upper hand.
Yeah, okay. You cannot convince me that there's a cooler... I guess it's hard to say because Darth Vader is really iconic, but Mace...
voiced by a black actor. James Earl
That's
Jones.
true.
Yeah.
But not...
So again, Tarantino
once again,
not in the prequels.
For irreplaceable, Darth Vader would not be the same without James Earl Jones' voice.
Oh, no, for sure. Dude.
Yeah. Proven, because they needed him again.
Absolutely. Yeah. He sounded worse in that, but I mean...
Same thing with Mufasa from Lion King, apparently. You got to have him in the animation and the...
Replace everyone else except him.
The animated Lion King and then the better animated Lion King. The computer-generated animated. It's still animated. They try to say it's not... It's still animated. It's just a different type of animation.
So what? Coolest character? Mace.
I could say it with Mace, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go with Mace.
Mace is just the coolest. Most powerful. Mace.
In their universes, I think Jules is definitely the coolest in the Pulp Fiction movie. Ain't no one's cooler than him in that Pulp Fiction movie than Jules. She's coolish.
I think that the character is just... She just does what
Mace Windu is leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else.
Oh, yeah. Without, especially... Prequels, if you compare that form of Darth Vader next to Mace, it's just so bad. You turned her against me? Come on. Relax.
I think Black Snake Moan, he's a better character, but I think he's got too many flaws to be just considered a badass. He's got so many flaws and so much insecurity. He's more emotional.
He's just a regular dude.
So, if we're going to say that our characters are more badass, then I think we should give yours depth because, there's more depth to his character.
Yeah. True.
A range of emotion and insecurities.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like. Okay, I guess being a blues musician is pretty cool.
Oh no, that's
cool.
No, that's insanely cool.
But for the most part, he's kind of like a washed up old man.
Yeah.
Like, he's the opposite.
Well, he's a
It's
farmer.
not cool, yeah.
He grows the best crops in the area.
Yeah,
from
best
what I hear.
best butter beans.
I just want to say, yes, they should die, and I hope they burn. I just want to say it 100 times. It's so much fun. It's so fun to say that line.
What other stuff? What performance has the most longevity? Like what was going to keep people coming back?
Bro.
I would say
Pulp Fiction.
based upon the group of people that I know.
Star Wars is going to be Star Wars. Like
that-
without Mace Windu, yes, he's great, but people are going to see Star Wars without Mace Windu.
Thomas has
Pulp
watched
Fiction.
Star Wars hundreds of times. He has watched Pulp Fiction.
So our
times.
category of Thomas, yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
With respect to this household, how many times has that scene played out?
both of your movies are obviously way more iconic than Black Snake.
Oh,
no one knows about that.
I think a lot of people know it because it's so fucking.
Because
weird.
it's so strange.
It's so weird.
No, it's like it feels like
I think it puts asses in seats because people are like, "What the fuck is going on?"
The cover, like, if you're just basing it on like the cover, it almost seems like horror. You see like
some dude chaining
scary
something.
old looking black dude who's chained up.
Arguably, if
this
you're
young
a woman,
girl.
and it might be horror. It is horrifying situation. You're just trying to get your nut, and this dude chains you up. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, that is what happened.
That's the premise of the movie. It says that on IMDb.
That's the plot drive.
Yeah, what is quintessential Samuel L. Jackson? I mean, it's badassness, right?
Yeah.
Quotable lines. So who's the most quotable? Mace Windu or
It definitely
Pulp
has.
Fiction?
It has to be from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
I don't think there are any other relevant categories. Okay, how about... Well, no, I don't want to get too verbose with the categories. Then they're like, we're really dialing on specific things. What I'm saying is, like, which performance is the most Samuel L?
Yeah.
Which would you ascribe...
I think Mace Windu's an outlier, but that's good, though. I like that,
absolutely.
though. But it's cool when an actor steps out of that and does that.
I would say...
Then it becomes even more remarkable.
Yeah, I can't imagine, like I said, any other actor being Mace besides...
But yeah, like I said, Pulp Fiction is who I knew him from.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people know him from that.
I mean, that's one of his earlier things,
it might
and that
be,
kind of
almost feel like that role was written.
that kind of
chronology
defined like
It might have been written
how
for
he's
him.
perceived.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You have a particular person in mind when you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case for Mace, but...
Well,
maybe not originally, but like we said, it
What's
seems like
insane
he
is
shaped
that-
the character.
It definitely was written for him.
And what is awesome about Mace is that Samuel changed the very fabric of Star Wars with that character.
Yeah.
It's so insane that I'm sure George Lucas, with Control of the Prequels, had an exact idea of how he wanted that character
Think
to be.
about how authoritarian George Lucas is.
Yeah.
Especially when he was making the prequels.
And then Mace is like, I want to
Samuel L.
Prequel.
got Mace to change a lot, yeah. So
Yeah.
he did change a lot in Star Wars.
Yeah, when you hear all the stories of how combative he was on the original trilogy, and then just Samuel just comes in with demands, and that's just it.
Let's see what Instagram had to say. We got Hawthorne.wipes, a man who started following me, or an account that started following me after our video. This dude's following us, and he's got a community basically dedicated.
This is actually
Instagram.
my man's right here.
Hawthorne.wipes, and he said,
That's amazing.
Mace Windu exclamation mark.
He feels very strongly about that, as well do I. Perfect.
Yvonne Taylor said, Mr. Glass, I loved the sympathetic backstory and then the rationalization, which is what I was talking about, that led to the horror and evil. I also loved his nod to Frederick Douglass in appearance.
Best
Got
hair.
a fro.
For sure.
Best hair
for sure. Yeah.
Fro's dope.
Without a doubt.
She said I hated his character in Black Snake Moan. And then I said, I think Brandon might be arguing for his character, for that character. I said, what did you hate about it? She didn't get back to me in time.
Okay, I thought she was gonna.
She might get
I
back to
think
me.
Call
she
me an
might have
idiot.
a more... Yeah, she might actually have, like...
She'll get back to us. So if you want to see that conversation further, just follow our Instagram and you'll look at that post. Maybe you'll see what she had to say. Mac36, who's been on the podcast twice, community episode of Futurama, said Zeus. I don't know. Somebody look up Zeus.
Wait, he plays Zeus?
Well,
What?
maybe a character named Zeus.
Oh.
He said Zeus or Hold Up Man from Coming to America. And I don't remember his role in Coming to America either. It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
No, it's an old film.
Yeah.
I would love to see that in the role
But
of
then
Zeus.
this person, Ivan Stur J, said Mace. Just plain
The
simple
people
Mace.
have spoken.
Yeah.
Mace.
No, people like Mace.
Mace is an amazing character.
Megan Mendoza, who's been on a couple episodes, said Long Kiss Goodnight, which I have not seen that film.
Not seen it either. It
He
sounds
plays Zeus Carver in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, yes. I did see that he was in Die Hard with a Vengeance. I didn't know his name was Zeus in that.
So there you go. The people have spoken. I've spoken.
What do we say to people who think that Steven was like I've seen people like it's an Oscar-worthy like supporting actor role.
He does an insanely good job.
So do we say, yeah, it's good? It's
Well, people didn't comment on the gram, so no, we don't say that.
Oh, okay.
So, do we have all the data we need? Have we gathered the facts?
Yeah.
I'm prepared.
Jesus Christ.
Does he play Jesus Christ?
I'd watch it.
He could.
Honestly? I play.
Where are my motherfucking apostles?
I'd like to think of Jesus Christ of Nazareth as a little less aggressive.
He's got to say motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, during the
yes,
temple
Macy, he doesn't say.
Oh, Macy absolutely does not say motherfucker. That's a family-friendly film. That being said...
It'd be one of Samuel Jackson's more reserved roles.
Oh, no.
It's a deleted scene.
Jesus? No, it's when he's, when Jesus goes in flipping tables in the temple.
Yeah.
Out of righteous anger. That's biblical. That's in the Lord.
It's not. I
Okay.
just love the connection you made.
If we have all the data, then...
I'm going to need a second. God damn.
I don't need a second at all. I think that there is a lot to consider. He's been in a lot of stuff. I think we did a good job picking.
Like I said, the only other one I wish we had is Glass to be like fully represented. I think that's a really great role. Are there any Samuel Jackson roles that we don't like?
Not that I've seen.
Like I said,
I haven't seen all of his... I haven't even seen 10% of his work.
I wasn't...
No, we were looking on IMDb. There's just no way. There's no way.
Like I said, a lot of people were...
I'm only human.
People were saying like Senior Love Daddy from Do the Right Thing. I wasn't that impressed. He was hidden behind like sunglasses and a big hat and in a radio studio. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't like him in that role. I mean, I didn't like that role that much.
Sure.
I don't know that any actor could have done well in that. It was just not... The character wasn't anything special to me.
There's a lot of situations where...
He was a side character. He wasn't anything special.
Yeah, sure. Like Mace. It's a side character that turned into something special. Anyway, I think we have... I think we've delayed too long.
Okay.
You should know in your heart at this point. It's simple. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
No, it really is.
3, 2, 1.
Mace.
Jules. All right. I'm happy either way.
Look.
Either way. Jules and Mace. The top two roles.
The top two, yeah, of course.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Mace is just... Man... When I think of Samuel, I think of Mace. That's the thing. I don't think of him from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
That's just the thing that's most on the front of my mind.
That's because we're nerds.
The woman I met
that might be true.
today said Mace.
Mace is...
When I said that I was doing Samuel Jackson, she said Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And it hurts the most to think of him dead.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's not dead.
Yeah, in our
He's on
hearts.
that island.
In our hearts.
He's on that
He's
island.
on Cuba.
I can't believe it. We did it again. We figured out who the best character is in whatever we're talking about, despite the podcast being called Your Favorite Character Sucks. Now the only question is, what should we do next? You can help us decide by following us at YFCS Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and telling us which show, movie, series, book you think we should do. Until then, hit that subscribe button and catch us on the next episode. Thanks for listening.